Hey guys, welcome back to Virtual Learning Day 3. I hope everyone had an awesome weekend and you're feeling rested and recharged. Maybe got outside a little because it was pretty beautiful. But let's get started. We're going to start like we normally do with our Today in History. So it says March 23rd, 1919, Benito Mussolini, an Italian World War I veteran and publisher of socialist newspapers, breaks with the Italian socialists and establishes the nationalist Facci di Combattimento, named after the Italian peasant revolutionaries or fighting bands from the 19th century. Commonly known as the Fascist Party, Mussolini's new right-wing organization advocated Italian nationalism, had black shirts for uniforms, and launched a program of terrorism and intimidation against its leftist opponents. Okay, so hopefully you guys recognize the name Benito Mussolini. We spoke about him a little bit in class already. He was the leader of Italy during World War II, very similar to Hitler's, that he gained power through intimidation and fear tactics. He was what we learned as a totalitarian leader, meaning he had complete control in the government and pretty much all aspects of people's lives. And at first the Italian people were okay with it, and then eventually they helped to overthrow him because of what he was doing during World War II. Right? So awesome that we have some stuff that connects with what we are learning in class. Okay, so let's get started with our lesson. Okay, last time that I spoke to you guys, I assigned you a Supreme Court case, Korematsu versus the United States, where you had to go through and read some background information in the different parts of the case. And I asked you to read the statement here: the United States was justified in sending Japanese Americans to relocation centers during World War II, and you either had to agree or disagree with that statement, and you were supposed to highlight one of these. Right? And then in the space provided below on the second page here, you needed to, in paragraph form, respond and explain, right? Making sure that you used topic sentence, supporting evidence from the homework here and any sort of information you could recall from lessons that we've done already, and analyze, tell me why. And then, of course, ended with a closing sentence. Right, so hopefully you guys got that done and that you've been continuing to work on your review sheet, which is due on Thursday. Right, so what we're going to look at today is we've spoken a lot about the war in Europe, and 2 lessons ago we talked about the battles that the US fought in and how we eventually brought an end to World War II in Europe, right? That's why it's called VE Day, because it's Victory in Europe Day. So that half of the war is over, right? Remember, we're fighting a 2-front war here, so we're fighting in 2 geographically separate locations, right? Europe being one area and now the Pacific. So once we finish dealing with Hitler and the Nazis in Europe, we can focus all of our attention on the Pacific and fighting the Japanese. Right, so following Pearl Harbor, we spoke about how the United States dealt with that attack and putting Japanese Americans into an internment camps, and then you read about Korematsu versus the US, and now we're going to talk a little bit about what is it like fighting the Japanese, right? What is our enemy like? And what are some of the aspects of a Japanese soldier that made them such fierce adversaries for the United States, right? So here for your do now, you have to explain how the U.S. justified placing Japanese Americans into internment camps during World War II, then explain whether or not it was fair, right? So what was our argument, and did you think it was fair or not? Right? And then down here, you have your aim. Why were the Japanese so difficult to defeat during World War II? Right? And it says for each source, explain how this made the Japanese such a difficult opponent for the U.S. So your graphic organizer here is divided into 6 sections. Each one of the sections lines up with a source that you will have to read through. So you have Japanese holdouts, Bushido Code, student soldiers, kamikaze pilots, Bataan Death March, and treatment of prisoners, right? And then if you scroll down, you will have sources that go along with each one, and you're basically going to tell me, what does this tell you about the Japanese people as soldiers, as fighters, right? What makes them so aggressive and so really tough to defeat for the Americans, all right? And you're going to go through, there are 6 sources in total, obviously, because you have 6 boxes on your graphic organizer, right? And then down here, it says, based on these documents and your knowledge of World War II, write a letter home describing your fears and concerns and hopes regarding the Japanese as you prepare to go to battle against them, right? So you are going to pretend that you are a soldier fighting in the Pacific during World War II, right? And based on the information that you read in the sources during this lesson, you're going to tell me one or two things specifically about the Japanese that would scare you as a soldier, right? What you know going into it, that is going to make them so tough to fight against as a soldier, all right? This, as well as all the other lessons that I've assigned this week, will be due on Thursday, right? So I will be going over that stuff with you during office hours on Thursday, right? So obviously, if you have any questions, make sure that you're writing those things down so that you remember, so that come time for office hours, if you need to ask those questions, you can do that, right? And then also, you are always welcome to email me or message me on Remind if you'd like to get in touch with me sooner than that. Also, if it makes it easier for you guys, I have set up a YouTube channel, which I will link on Google Classroom, with all of these videos for our lessons. So I know some people were having trouble viewing them necessarily all the time, so they'll be on that YouTube channel. So you guys have access to them anytime you need it, and then I'll send it out a Remind also, just in case people are having a hard time viewing this. Obviously, they're not going to see me telling you this, all right? But good luck, and as always, stay safe and make good choices. Bye, guys.